on the avian homeworld of Zion. The Crowmagnons are enslaved by their more technologically evolved masters, the Angelic Council. The Council kept the Crowmagnons' mighty wings shackled to hobble them, keep them docile, and prevent rebellion. Those deemed too stupid or feral to serve are fed to the meat grinder, known as the avian arenas, to fight and die for the entertainment of the masses. This is where our story begins. Aboard a large ship in deep space, a Skeetian pirate captain called Keatron sits, reminiscing on a long since past memory.
Once, in my youth, my father and I stopped to refuel on Zion, the avian homeworld. While we were there, he took me to watch the arena battles. Inside, the Crowmagnon slaves would fight for the entertainment of the masses. And there were none as strong, tough, or brutal as the undefeated Mighty KAAW. He slaughtered everything they put in his path. For years, KAAW kept the people of Zion entertained. He became a hero to them, which ultimately led us to now, where there was a great unrest amongst the Crow slaves. They thought, if this Crowmagnon can fly, why can't we? And I have the very same question. If KAAW flies, why can't they? Those are the type of questions you do not want slaves to be asking. And so the Angelic Council decided to silence the coming rebellion before it started. They thought if they could make the people's idol bow before his more evolved masters, then the rebellion would be stopped. But they were wrong, and they soon would find that
the Mighty KAAW bows to no man. Ah!
They realized their error too late. Far too late. Now, they understood that the arena had forged this Crowmagnon into the galaxy's most deadly warrior. And now, he is ours.
Shirley Boy Entertainment and Mr. Fish Comics presents, in association with the Adam Talks podcast, the Mighty KAAW the Crowmagnon, a Savage Escape. Starring Glenn Lewis as the Mighty KAAW and Jessie Teague as Captain Keatron and First Officer Finpitch. Narrated by Adam Shirley. Additional voices provided by Glenn Lewis and Adam Shirley. Audio drama adaptation provided by Adam Shirley, based on the Mighty KAAW the Crowmagnon, issues 1 and 2, written, illustrated, and created by Fish Lee. Deep in outer space is the Talon, a Skeetian slave ship. It is hurtling between the stars and heading towards the edge of the outermost part of the galaxy. These Skeetian pirates have suffered dearly in their attempt to claim the record-breaking bounty put on the Mighty KAAW by the Angelic Council. The bounty was to capture him and transport him off-world, and it cost these pirates half of their crew. They managed to teleport him on board the Talon and into a containment tank to ship this savage across the galaxy. On board the slave ship, the first officer voices his concerns to Captain Keatron.
We've lost too many men just to capture one bounty, Captain. We barely have enough men to run the ship, much less tend to the slaves.
Look at it this way. That's fewer ways to split the reward for getting them off planet.
They begin walking the corridors of this vessel. Green light comes from the dirty metallic grates below their feet, and electronics are all around them, burring and beeping as they continue their conversation.
Is he secured?
Yes, sir. He is bound and tanked below the deck with all the other slaves.
Good. The council will be pleased. And the crystals?
Already in the ship's vault. I was gonna add that.
The captain interrupts, turning and walking away from First Officer Finpitch, holding his trophy from this bounty, saying,
No. His body, the crystals. That's all that's listed on the bounty.
He walks away, looking intently at this trophy. It is the Mighty KAAW's cowl. As he gazes at it, he says to himself,
I have a special spot for this.
Meanwhile, on the lower decks, where the slave containment tanks are being held, an armored Skeetian monitors the many tanks containing slaves. He speaks with other smaller Skeetian while they observe the tank that KAAW is being held in. The tanks that these slaves are being held in is made of a substance called plex steel that is said to be unbreakable. KAAW, along with the other slaves inside these tanks, have wires monitoring their life signs and a hose inserted into their throat through face mask to give them food and keep them breathing, keep them alive. KAAW is the only one out of all of these whose hands and wings are bound. The smaller Skeetian begins tapping on the plex steel and says,
Hello? Are you dead in there?
The Mighty KAAW then begins to awaken, and his eyes slowly begin to open. Noticing this, the armored Skeetian says,
I guess he's still alive. I suppose that means I owe you a slurp, huh?
He owes me far more than that. Count yourself lucky that the tank you're in is impenetrable, or I would pay you back for the broken arm that you gave me.
Don't lose too much sleep over him. Where he's going, trust me, he'll get what he deserves.
Inside the tank, KAAW can see these two pirates talking. He realizes he must get out of this tank, and thinks to himself,
My arms are bound. I can only move my head and my feet. I know what to do.
Then, he begins to rear his head back, smash it forward into the plex steel. He does this over and over and over again.
What are you even doing? You can't break that. It's a plex steel tank wall.
I'll let them. Go ahead, savage. Kill yourself. Either way, we get our cut from the bounty. And it may even save you from fighting in the arenas in the Outer Rim.
KAAW continues to strike the plex steel over and over and over with his head, until finally a crack forms. And with each strike from his head, the crack begins to grow larger and larger. This worries the pirates.
He can't really break through that, can he?
No! There's no way he could possibly break through that. It's the same stuff they used to make the bridge window. It can withstand the pressure of hyperspace, so there's no way he can...
At this point, the crack has grown from a single crack to a large spiderweb-like crack. And they knew that in mere moments, this tank could shatter.
Hey! Oh, we should sound the alarm, like now!
On the bridge of the ship, after long contemplation, Captain Keytron has finally found the perfect perch to place his trophy from this bounty. He stands gazing at the cowl of the Mighty Crowmagnon with great anger and pride as he speaks aloud to himself.
We've taken far too many losses in this crew for just one avian slave. But by succeeding, we've gained the gratitude of the Angelic Council, and that by far outweighs the king-size bounty that they are willing to give.
Just then, an alarm begins screeching throughout the ship. Unaware of why an alarm has gone off, the captain begins to communicate to get his answers.
What the skaggin' fex is going on? Why is there an alarm sounding?
There's a tank breach on the lower bio holding deck.
Down on the holding decks stands the large Crowmagnon warrior, his tank shattered, and the liquid that held him inside running down to the grated floor. His hands and wings are still bound as the pirates look on, unsure of what the next move should be. The smaller one says,
No! By the frozen shards of St. Valador, that shouldn't be possible!
The armored pirate, who has been watching over these tanks, then says,
Quick! Before he gets away!
And runs towards the warrior with the spear drawn, ready to strike. The Mighty KAAW saw this coming, and quickly swung his foot towards the armored pirate, delivering a roundhouse kick to him, sending him to the ground, unconscious. The smaller one took his opportunity and drew a knife, and went for the kill, seeking revenge for his broken arm.
Die, you avian scum! I will have my revenge!
But this bird warrior has been in far too many battles to not see this attack coming. He jumps into the air and flips over the small pirate. In doing so, he wraps the large oxygen tube that is still in his throat around the smaller Skeetian's neck, and then puts his foot on the downed pirate's chest. He then pulls the tube upward to tighten it until the injured pirate breathes no more. Then, he puts his foot on the hose and slowly pulls it from his throat, allowing him to breathe normally without assistance. But there's no time to waste, because a large group of armored pirates has entered the room, all with the intent of stopping him by any means necessary. The leader of the group called out to him, saying,
It looks like you're not going to reach the arenas after all, you feathered freak.
Another of the armored pirates shouted,
You will pay for that with your life, Scrag.
Hearing this, the Mighty KAAW had only one response.
You don't hear? The Mighty KAAW falls to no man!
And the battle begins. KAAW uses every bit of his brutality, slaying pirate after pirate, stomping the heads of some after putting them on the ground. One swung their battle axe at him and kicked it with enough force for it to be knocked out of their hands, spinning it into their midsection, cutting a huge gash in them, leaving their insides hanging out, and it screaming in pain.
Oh God!
Another vowed revenge for their fallen comrade, and swings their sword towards KAAW. Seeing this, and anticipating the attack, KAAW spun around, and their sword cut the bindings, freeing the hands of the mighty warrior. As this happened, one of the pirates yelled out,
Valador, save me!
To which the Mighty KAAW replied,
There are no gods here, only KAAW.
The chaos continued as KAAW took them all out, one by one.
We captured him once. We'll do it again.
Searching down the west corridor.
Where is he?
Don't worry.
Can't find him. Where is he? Is he faster? I'm going to check it.
You have to. This frack is faster than a scorched snug egg.
He isn't faster than a plasma bolt. Just keep firing.
Elsewhere on the ship, First Mate Finpitch has his own plan for finding the deadly threat, even though this plan violates both the ship's charter and several galactic laws. As he stands in front of a monitor, watching the carnage unfold, he begins speaking to himself aloud.
Here goes another. And another. He's burning through our crew like a Tangary freighter burns through fusion rods. I told Captain Crane this job wasn't worth the exuberant bounty. Even the combined forces of the angelic armies couldn't stop the deadliest warrior. Slave turned rebel leader, what hope did we have? But he was blinded by the credits. The more souls we lost trying to capture this force of nature, the bigger his cut of the prize grew. Now the walking massacre is loose in our ship. All our lives are forfeit. Take in the sin of the feathered savage.
I don't care what laws I may break. I have no choice but to release the Hellhounds. We may all be damned by my deeds, but this is the day KAAW the Crowmagnon dies.
He releases the beasts. These monstrosities are large, red, sharp-toothed creatures with bulging yellow eyes and long spiked tongue that they use to capture and kill their prey. In another part of the ship, one of the pirates yells out to another, "Some fool has released the Hellhounds. Our only hope is to seal the blast doors to the hyperdrive. Dak, grab the lever. We have to pull them at the exact same time. Ready? Dak!" He turns to see only the arm of his crewmate hanging from the lever that he was meant to be pulling. The pirate gets a chill down his spine, a feeling as if he is being watched. By the time he turns around, it's too late. KAAW grabs him by the arm and begins using the still-living pirate's body as a weapon against the charging Hellhounds. The mighty warrior uses a variety of strikes on the beast, bashing them over and over until one goes down. And then KAAW ends him by stomping straight through the monster's eye. In that same moment, the other Hellhound opens his mouth and sends his spiked tongue at KAAW, wrapping it around his arm. But this champion warrior stands firm, grabbing part of the tongue and gripping it. He then says,
You think yourself beast enough to feast on the mighty KAAW? You want to taste my flesh? Well, you're not the first to attempt this feast. But I will say it is a mistake on your part.
He then gets a more tight grip on this nightmarish creature's tool of death. Squeezing it harder, he slowly begins pulling. But the beast does not budge, and neither does KAAW. As he pulls, he begins to taunt the monsters, even laughing a little, enjoying the carnage, and says,
Let me ask you this, beast. You wish to devour me? Consume me? Yeah, well, how does this taste?
And with one motion, he rips the tongue out of the monster, and begins wielding it as a whip, assaulting the beast as he continues to taunt, saying,
Do you beast dare to hunger for crow flesh any longer? Taste your own sting. Lap up your own blood till your side blades.
As this is being said, he delivers a huge blow to one of the Hellhounds, killing it. The mangled corpse of one of the beasts lay in a pool of green blood. KAAW breathes heavy, in anticipation of the fight with the final hound. Just then, the first officer of the ship and handler of the beast, Finpitch, comes down the hull of this metallic vessel and says,
That's it, my pets. I can hear you shredding the scrag from here. I hope I make it in time to see the final kill.
Sensing his death, the last Hellhound makes the desperate last charge of the dam. But KAAW is ready for it. The beast tries to sink his massive gnarled teeth into the gladiator, and as it does, KAAW grabs its upper teeth and puts his foot into the lower ones, and says,
You wish to taste crow flesh? Savor the taste of KAAW's wrath! Ah! This beast goes down fighting, and for that, you have earned the mighty death of a warrior.
KAAW then uses all of his mighty strength to tear this nightmarish creature in half, pushing up with his hands, breaking the jaw, and killing the last of the Hellhounds on the ship. Then Finpitch walks into the room, just as these events were happening, and says,
No! Not my hounds! No! Not my sweet little scavengers! I raised them from pods, you feathered frack! I'll see you on the frozen plains of Nakvara, you avian monster!
The first officer begins firing off shots from an assault rifle, letting rounds fly everywhere. KAAW does not fear that. He makes his way out of the room and escapes. Meanwhile, on the bridge of the ship, the captain is calling for help. as the Talon is being ripped from hyperspace. The hyperdrives are offline, and the ship is going down near an uncharted planet, while Captain Keytron tries to make communication with the Angelic Council.
Mayday! Mayday! This is the Talon. We've been blown out of hyperspace and uncharted space on a mission for the Angelic Council. We need rescue, ASAP, by the frozen tears of St. Valador. We are on a collision course. I'm gonna try to slow our descent. Mayday! Mayday! The Talon is on a collision course for an uncharted planet. Sector 48F, System 39. I'm trying to slow the ship and aim for a synchronous orbit on the third planet. Almost there. Send rescue to...
Just then, a body of a pirate slams into the control panel, destroying it. The captain is furious and confused and begins shouting.
The helm controls are destroyed. Pinrich, is that you? It wasn't enough to kill my crew? To kill my first mate? You had to shatter the helm controls and doom us all. Can your savage pea-brain even comprehend what you've done?
As this is happening, a computerized voice rings out stating that the hull's integrity is at 45%. But the Mighty KAAW doesn't care about any of that. He is searching for something that was taken from him. Something important to him. His cowl. But this isn't just any old crow mask. This is the mask that represents the strongest and mightiest of all crow people. The Crowmagnon. As he approaches the captain, sparks are flying, and screens are unreadable. He asks the captain,
Where is it?
The captain looks over his shoulder and says,
I'll never tell you.
Then, without warning, and with an unnatural speed and aggression, KAAW strikes. He delivers blow after blow to the captain, unrelenting in his assault. While this is happening, the computerized voice continues to read out other notifications about the ship's integrity.
Hull failure. Cargo bay.
As the ship begins to fail or shut down, the Mighty KAAW continues his attack, and all the while asking the same question, the one thing he wants. He asks,
Where is it?
as the captain sits there bleeding out, with broken beak, arms, legs, and his body slumped on the floor. He says,
It's lost. Forever. Burning up in the atmosphere, you savage. So go ahead and kill me. You haven't won anything. We're all gonna die on this uninhabited rock. You may have slaughtered my crew, but I'm going to enjoy watching you burn.
in these final moments aboard the pirate ship Talon, KAAW looks at this pathetic excuse for a captain. He then scans the room, and there, inside a glass case, he finds what is rightfully his, the Crowmagnon cowl. As he walks to it, he remarks to the captain,
No flavor. No. Today is not the day the Mighty KAAW falls. Today is the day you burn alone.
and with that, the Mighty KAAW smashed the glass case, retrieving the cowl and placing it on his head. He then heads towards an opening in the ship's hull. As he does, Captain Keytron cries out in his final breath.
Get back here! You savage! You can't!
But it is too late. The brutal barbarian leaps from the fiery wreckage of the fallen ship. Without hesitation, he hurtles towards the surface of this uncharted world like the flaming shards of the crumbling starship, painting the sky, raining down like some kind of apocalyptic meteor storm. One click of the small device he took from the captain's battered carcass, and the shackles that have been straining to imprison this mighty form explode all around him, and the Mighty KAAW is finally free. The only question now is how will this uncharted world survive the Mighty KAAW, the Crowmagnon? The Mighty KAAW, the Crowmagnon, A Savage Escape, is an original audio drama written by Adam Shirley Adapted from the Mighty KAAW The Crowmagnon comics, issues number 1 and 2. Written, illustrated, and created by Fish Lee. Starring Glenn Lewis as the Mighty KAAW the Crowmagnon. Jessie Teague as Captain Keytron and First Officer Finpitch. Narrated by Adam Shirley. Original music created by Adam Shirley using Music Maker Jam. And all sound effects were provided by Pixabay.com. The Mighty KAAW the Crowmagnon and all characters therein belong to Mr. Fish Comics. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this production. Keep on the lookout for more great content from both Mr. Fish Comics and Shirley Boy Entertainment.